Hey, hello, it's me, Craig. Welcome to Flooded. How you doing? I record this live, so apologies for it being a little bit long, a little bit unedited, but I do these live, and I enjoy doing them that way. That means I can just lift it from the live kind of thing and put it straight out onto the internet, and there's no delay, and I'm not messing about, because I like to comment on things that are currently happening. Think of it as like a video Twitter or a video X. Don't think of it as video X. Don't Google that term. If you do, I take no responsibility for what you'll find. Russell Brand is still in the news. Everyone's still talking about Russell Brand. And it's got me kind of thinking, as I bring that music down, it's got me kind of thinking about what are we talking about Russell Brand for? What's the bad thing that's happened to Russell Brand? And the bad thing that's happened to Russell Brand is he's been cancelled. So I started thinking about, well, being cancelled, what is the impact of being cancelled? Well, if you think about it, if you're just an ordinary person, say you work at Tesco's or whatever, or you've got you're on £11 an hour, you kind of get cancelled a lot. You get cancelled by your friends. They don't call you anymore, or they block you on their phones, or you have an argument and you get cancelled. The school might suspend you, so you've been cancelled. You might get sacked from work for turning up late. You've been cancelled by Tesco's. And it kind of like, I don't really know what the term means. It seems to be something that really relates to, celebrities, who by default are usually wealthy, but not always. So I started thinking about that and thinking, well, the impact on celebrities is that they were once held to high esteem in the public eye, and now they've been sort of shamed for something they may not have done. And a little part of me thinks, so what? If like, for example, Russell Brand has probably got enough money to live on for the rest of his life, maybe not with the life he's got now, but if I had £1 million, I could definitely live off that for the rest of my life, happily with loads to spare. But what happens when you become very wealthy is you start buying things. Your monthly expenses go up. Your rent isn't £500 to £1,700 a month. Your rent suddenly becomes £4,000 a month. Or your payments on a car are not like £220 a month. They become £650 a month. So this is what wealthy people do. They up their expenditure. So percentage-wise, the percentage of their income that they spend on, just living the life they want to live is percentage-wise probably the same as anybody else. And it's when you get to that sort of well beyond that percentage level, where you're earning so much ridiculous amounts of money that percentage doesn't count anymore. That's where I want to be. I would still do this though, because I enjoy this. I enjoy making the videos, but that's not all I've been talking about to people on the Twitter about. The thing that's been getting me is this idea of proven innocent until proven guilty. And everyone's talking about the internet being like this court of law. Now, the internet, it's not really a sort of, not court of law, but, trial by media. That's what I'm saying. It's not really a trial by media. He's not going to have his freedom taken away from him. What might happen is that brands or broadcasters may decide they don't want to work with him anymore. They may decide, well, it's okay to say no to him now, because there could be like executive producers or commissioners, whoever, who bow down, who probably accept presenters that they don't like, but they take because they sell tickets. But when I say tickets, I mean obviously viewers or whatever. But they sell tickets. They are big ticket items. And I've had to work with presenters before that I didn't like them. I didn't even think they were very good presenters, but we've worked with them. I had to work with them because they were the best people for the job. They were going to get viewers. I didn't think they were the best people for the job. I think half the time, you know, when a new show comes out and they say, oh yeah, and we've got this well-known presenter to present it, I kind of think, like, certainly in terms of the BBC, it's their responsibility to try and source new talent. And I always liked that about shows like Blue Peter, which would always bring in new talent whenever they replaced a presenter. Blue Peter never brought in, I don't know, John Noakes is leaving. Here's, I don't know, here's insert celebrity name here, Des O'Connor to replace him. They never did that. And every time it happened, and every time I see it happening in television, I think queue jumping. I think lack of imagination and lack of risk taking by commissioners, and that's what it's about. They won't take risks on new people. They will use the dead cert. So they go for people like Russell Brand because he's well known. Even if they don't like him, they'll have Russell Brand. And that's just how it is. But this idea that innocent until proven guilty, I think that Russell Brand has basically been slandered. And I don't think it's we should be sitting back waiting for somebody to make an official complaint to the police. We should be sitting back asking, why is Brand not responding to being slandered? He's been slandered and the slander's been facilitated by Channel 4. Why is he not coming back on them about it? That, for me, is like the number one question at the moment. If somebody accuses you of something that you're absolutely adamant you had nothing to do with and it didn't happen, you would immediately say, right, you've slandered me, I'm taking you to court. It may be that that's going to happen, but you have to build up your evidence. And one of the big criticisms I've got of this documentary is it seems they basically emailed them a list of the accusations within the show a couple of days or a day before it went on air. Now, in the real courts, in the real trials, there's something called discovery, where each side is given all the evidence and time to assess it and counter it. And Brand wasn't given any of that. So if you're saying it's a trial by media, it's a very unfair trial. But we kind of knew all that. But I'm kind of thinking that, well, you know, we're saying he's been cancelled because YouTube have demonetized him. It's not comparable. YouTube are an advertising-based business, and everybody who makes videos for them agrees to have advertising on their videos, and YouTube will share some of that revenue. We agree to that all the time, even when they update. We never read the terms and conditions, but we're agreeing to stuff all the time. And it's on us to decide, well, do you know what? I don't actually agree with that anymore. I'm not going to do it. But we don't. We agree to it. And to say that you don't later on, it won't do. Regulation doesn't exist for broadcasters like YouTube. And I emphasize they are a broadcaster. Just because they changed the slogan from broadcast yourself, which is what it was originally, to nothing, it doesn't mean they've suddenly not become a broadcaster. They're more of a broadcaster than many at the moment. They're a broadcaster. They're a video on demand service. And you can stream from anywhere in the world via your phone to YouTube, Twitch. Who else is there? Rumble, Grumble, Bumble, all these sites. Mumble, Thumble, and you can stream to all these places. And every time you do that, you are broadcasting. And as far as I'm concerned, it's the same thing. All right, you might not be using masts, £1 million masks erected in the North York moors so that it gets distributed around the country. No, we don't need them anymore. We got the internet. And those things are all going to become defunct and probably become military tools. But we have the internet now, and we can stream, and streaming is broadcasting. And as such, YouTube, I think, will eventually has to be regulated. And I actually think that that letter that was going out from the Department of whatever it was, Arts and whatever, is actually creating I think what they were doing was gathering information to work out if this is something they need to think about, which is regulating the internet. And I think, and controversial, please don't hate me, but you can if you want. I'd be much more interested in hearing you politely tell me what you think about this suggestion, which is that it should be regulated. It would be better. It would be awful at the start because it means that everyone's going to have to be a little bit better behaved, maybe a little bit fairer in the videos you make. And I know people don't like doing that. You might not get away with just calling people names all the time. Wouldn't that be awful? And you say, well, that's free speech. I demand to have free speech. I insist on having free speech because I like telling people that they're see you next Tuesdays. I like to be, it's my free speech. I want to be able to abuse people on the internet. It's like, what do you want your free speech for? If that's what you want it for, then free speech is pretty much abused. You're abusing free speech by insisting that that's what's important to you. And you should be able to say what you like about anybody whenever you like. And that could include somebody can make an accusation about you. Yeah, you watching this video right now, watching me. Somebody could say it about me, make an accusation about me. And it's up to me whether I slander them or not. See, I have a policy, not a policy, but a belief system, which is I can't be responsible for how you feel. I can say something, you can get upset, but it's you getting upset, not me. I'm not controlling that because we have something called self-control. And you apply whether there's any sort of value to what a person has said when they're insulting you. And if there isn't, if there's no truth behind it, why would you bother getting upset about it? So I don't let other people upset me unless there's kind of like a truth to it. And then obviously I'm going to get upset. Obviously that doesn't mean you go around just being rude to people. We live in a society. We can't do that. You know, what sort of society would function well if we all just walked around being rude to each other? That would be rubbish society, wouldn't it? It's much nicer being nice to each other. And I hate the word nice. And I would never put it in the biog of my be nice to one another. The people who say that are normally the worst culprits of being horrible to one another. We're all aware of that. But I want to know why Brand is not taking these people who are saying things about him to court. And why it's not happening immediately. At least a statement around, I intend to take these people to court. That's what Johnny Depp did. Thank you, Jan Graham, for that very loud new subscriber. I much appreciate it, Jan. I know your sister Feb. I think I know your Uncle Mar. But I don't like Deck. Yeah, why is he not taking Channel 4? Channel 4, I think, are culpable, is that the word, in this a little bit, because they gave voice to it. They've also kind of prejudiced any case that Brand could take by using actors, by dramatizing transcripts, and by using emotive music, and also just the distinct lack of support or alternative voice in support of Brand. Oh, he's always like that, but, or where are all these women who he's had fantastic relationships with who are hearing, you know, that would be a much more interesting documentary, wouldn't it? But then again, the people making the accusations would never come forward unless it was 100% to make them look good and correct. And if the things they say did happen to them, then they can throw away the key on Brand, as far as I'm concerned. That would be horrific. I don't like him. I never have liked him, but I'm not somebody who's going to let my prejudice of him as a person affect my judgment about what is happening to him, because it needs to be fair. So Channel 4 and the women making the accusations, we need to all stop asking and talking about guilty, innocent until proven guilty, and start talking about where's the case? Why are you not taking them to court, Mr. Brand? Take them to court, sir. You've been slandered. Do it, Brand!